Let it start. Okay, so it's now recorded, right? So we talked about in the last class about the phylum Arthropoda, and we said that these are the organisms with jointed appendages. So they have jointed appendages, jointed feet, and these organisms are ecologically very diverse. They are present almost in all types of habitats. Um, there be water, land, it's trees, it's a sea, it's river, it's a desert, it's cold area, it's hot area. They're present everywhere. They are very diverse. And secondly, we said that they are very high in numbers. We said that about approximately 75% of all animal species are arthropods, and um, the one group of one class of arthropoda is the insecta, the insects. They make approximately 50% of the all species among all organisms. So it means that, sorry, animals, not organisms, because plants are there, they are separate among animals. So it means that they are highly successful. And we talked about the reasons of their success, which were five, and I think all of you already have described those, but just I just collect them. That highly developed sense organs, the jointed appendages and the locomotion, the this what do you say? Uh, they are a complex behavior. Their exoskeleton, which is very unique. Their tracheal system, that is the air piping system, and then the limited intraspecific competition due to metamorphosis. So there are six reasons for their success. And now we are going to talk about their further characteristics and then the classification. So for further characteristics, I'm showing you a list and we are talking about that. So let me share a page. You- Are you able to see my page?
Yes.
Okay. So the characteristics in general. So arthros mean jointed, podos mean feet. The kingdom belong to kingdom Animalia, as we know. They're mostly terrestrial, aquatic, very diverse. Insects are the most successful life form on Earth. Their body has three parts. This is an important feature of them. That their body is divided into three parts: a head region, a thorax region. Thorax means the chest region basically, and abdomen, the abdominal region. So their body is divided into three regions: head, thorax, the chest, and the abdomen or the belly region. Um, then their body is metamerically segmented. It means that their body consists of, not always, but many times, segments, particular kind of segments. And sometimes segments may have repeated organs like that. So body is basically segmented. As you have seen in cockroach, if you remove the, if you just remove their wings, you'll see that body have segments. If you see in other organisms, many of those are segmented. Then there are three pairs of legs, jointed legs. This is particularly to insects. But if you go to spiders, they may have eight pairs. So generally, three pairs to eight pairs. Sorry, four pairs means four on one side, four on the other side. So three pairs of jointed legs, six legs in insects. And if we go to, for example, these spiders, they may have eight legs in total. That is four pairs. So paired legs are present. Now, what happened that most of these paired legs are most of the time they are attached to the thorax region. We said that their body is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen. Now, what happened that these legs, the paired legs, are mostly associated with or attached with the thorax region. So, legs attached to thorax. Then, uh, compound eyes, which contain several thousand lenses, leading to a larger field of vision. Now, what happened that they are having specific eye? We said that they are having very good sense organs, and we also have seen structure of one of the eye. Many of them are having compound eyes. Compound eye mean that they are having several sets of lenses, sometimes thousands of lenses. The result is this, that they can see the world as a mosaic, and they can see it in almost oval sides, because two eyes are on two sides and they are rounded, and they are having so many lenses, so they are recording almost all parts of the environment at the same time and then joining that image to see the world just like a mosaic. You can see, you have seen a picture puzzle, right? पिक्चर पजल होता है, उसमें जिस तरह से पार्ट्स ज्वाइन करके एक होल पीस बनाते हैं कि आई उस तरह से एक इमेज बनाती है. So every lens is recording one part of the image, and then all those images are joined just like a picture puzzle. So they, of course, the solved one, the solve किया हुआ आपने, ऐसा नहीं कि separate but solved. So generally they possesses two antenna. Antenna are basically sensory organs. Like you may have seen ants which are moving in any direction. You see they actually extend their two parts on their head. Two small extensions are there on their head. The antenna, these are sensory organs and they help them in sensing the environment. Now about symmetry, as we have talked about previous phyla, they are bilaterally symmetrical. Their symmetry is in general the bilateral one. And
एक्सक्यूज
they
मी
are
मैम.
triploblastic. Yes.
मैम
जी
आपने
जी.
जैसे आइस का बताया है, तो अगर इनकी एक आई डैमेज हो जाए तो क्या वो उनका विजन ही खत्म हो जाएगा उस साइड से, या बाकी आइज व्यू में आएंगे उससे?
नहीं, दूसरी आई से आता रहेगा, लेकिन जाहिर है कि उसका जो सर्कल है, साइकिल उसकी जो जो कहना चाहिए कि the part
वो
of the world
साइड
which
ब्लर
is
हो
actually
जाएगी.
seen will be lesser. Yes, yes, of course. That half part will be comparatively reduced, though some parts will be seen, because I said that compound eye is the rounded and extended one. ऐसे थोड़ी सी जैसे बॉडी से थोड़ी सी बाहर निकली हुई होती है, इस तरह की आई होती है. अभी मैं दिखाती हूँ आपको.
ओके मैम.
Eye is slightly out towards the outside. So what will happen that most of the part the other eye will take, but of course that will not be that clear. You know, less clear will be formed, but image will be formed. But some part of the world may be missing. This is possible. ऐसा हो जाए कि पूरी नहीं नजर आएगी मगर काफी ज्यादा उनको नजर आ जाए. Right? So should we go ahead? अभी मैं डायग्राम्स दिखाती हूँ फिर और क्लियर हो जाएगा. Okay, so a germ layer is a triploblastic. Mean they are having three body layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. Then grade of organization, that is organ system grade. That they are having organs which are making the systems. Then coelom means the body cavity. Is the homucele? I mean they are having open cavity inside the body, which is precisely there in the abdomen. So the abdomen have an inside cavity. If you have dissected a cockroach, you can observe there is cavity inside. Then we already talked about quite a lot about their exoskeleton. They are having a chitinous exoskeleton. Their exoskeleton is hard. That consists of chitin basically. There are no specifically bones or you can see the endoskeleton type thing, but inside bones are not there. Exoskeleton means the outside layer is there, and it consists of chitin mainly, and sometimes calcium is deposited, and maybe sometimes some lipid compounds are also associated with that. Then respiratory system.
Ma'am,
Uh, yes,
ma'am,
someone is asking.
can you explain the point number 13 again?
Sure. What happened that they are having a body cavity. Body cavity means that there is a space among the tissues. There are tissues around, and inside, in the center, somewhere there is a space in which organs are like hanging, right? So they are having a coelom, which is called a homocele, means that there is a complete uh, we can say, space inside the body in which the organs are hanging or passing through that. Of course, they are associated, they are attached with the body wall, but they are present in that cavity. Okay, it means that basically they are having proper coelom. Coelom means body cavity, the right body cavity.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is it clear? इसकी डायग्राम मेरे ख्याल दिखानी चाहिए मेरे पास डिसेक्टेड कॉकरोच का इमेज है मैं कोशिश करती हूँ अभी इसको ढूंढ के आपको दिखाऊं फिर आपको क्लियर हो जाएगा और ज्यादा okay, so respiratory system basically there may be general body surface. For example, in water insects they can respire by general body surface that they go inside even when they go inside the water they can have some water bubble associated with their body. They make a water bubble in which they store water, and through skin they directly respire. There may be water insects which may have gills, and we already talked about a trachea. There is another structure called book lungs. These are also present among these organisms. This is also a system of basically having pouches, we can say, which can uh, which can have that oxygen extracted from water. Then circulatory system. This is also their specific feature that they are having an open type of circulatory system. Now, what does open circulatory system means? That blood actually comes out of the vessels. Now, what happens in their circulation? That blood comes out of the vessels, um, and then for some time it is there in the abdominal cavity, and gaseous exchange and everything happen inside the body cavity. As we said that they are having a coelom, a body cavity. In that coelom, in the body cavity, blood will directly move around and then goes back into the vessels, and they are having a heart. Its purpose is to push the blood down. So it pushes the blood down, and then uh, what happens that uh, it goes down again to the body cavity, and then when body cavity is pressed, we can say pressed or compressed back, then blood goes back to the vessel. So this kind of system is called an open type of circulatory system. Let me show you a diagram that I can. Just for a minute. Um, Now I'm going to share the open circulatory system diagram. All right, here in front of you, this only part. Concentrate on this where my mouse is. So this is a grasshopper, an insect, and this is we have talked about annelida. This is an annelid, the earthworm. Earthworm is having closed circulatory system, but the cockroach is the grasshopper is having open circulatory system. Now see the difference. In open circulatory system, there is a heart on the dorsal side. Here on the top, you can see the heart. Here it is showing diagrammatically. And then you can see this is associated with vessels here, which are open on the other end. And here is the body cavity. This is the abdominal area, ये वाला part. This part which is down there is right here. So heart pushes the blood towards these vessels. This heart pushes the blood towards these vessels, which are open in this body cavity. Is the space in which organs are hanging down. And when it happens, um, the exchanges, we can say the exchange of, for example, gases takes place with this openly flowing, we can say, blood inside the body cavity. It means that when heart pushes the blood towards the vessels, it's flowing openly in all of this coelomic space, or we can say body cavity. When the exchange takes place, after that, these abdominal muscles actually presses or contracts, and this blood goes back into these vessels and then to the heart. When it happens, heart pushes the blood again back to the body cavity. So this is the open circulatory system. That on one side there is the heart, so on the other side vessels are basically open. But what about closed circulatory system in annelida? They are having a heart that is pushing the blood into the vessels. Vessels are making small branches, and then the blood goes back to the heart. The blood never leaves these vessels except for an injury. Otherwise, blood will be inside the vessels. But here, blood is coming out. So, arthropods are having basically open circulatory system. Now, this is open circulatory system. On one side, it is open. Right? So, let's go back. I hope the difference is clear between open and closed circulatory system.
Yes,
Yes,
miss.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So excretion. We talk about excretion. Then excretory system consists of what we call Malpighian tubules, or sometimes there's a green gland. Now, what happens that they are having a system of tubes extended from around their intestine, which are called Malpighian tubules, and these Malpighian tubules are responsible for excretion. That is, that blood is circulating inside the body cavity already. So what happens that around their intestine there's a big set of blind tubes which are collecting the excretory material. So when blood comes into the body cavity, these tubes extract excretory materials out of that blood and keep them inside for some time, and then sometimes put them in a green gland. There's a gland which is greenish in color because of the excretory materials collected there. Or maybe those tubes are sending that whole excretory material into the intestine, and then this is excreted out via the intestinal route. The excretory system consists of Malpighian tubules. It's a very efficient system because there are many tubules which are there in the surrounding, in around the intestine, just below the stomach. Then the nervous system, the dorsal brain is present with a ventral nerve cord. Brain is dorsal. It consists of a set of ganglia, and nerve cord is ventral. Towards ventral side, they are having nerve cord. We said that initially in the beginning we talked about that invertebrates are having a ventral nerve cord always, and vertebrates are having always a dorsal nerve. So their nerve cord is ventral. Now, sexes are separate. If we talk about the reproduction, sexual dimorphism is present. That is, male and female organisms looks different, and reproduction is by joining of the gametes basically. Fertilization is internal. The development is direct or indirect. Development, if direct development means that an egg will grow into an embryo, and then it will grow into a miniature adult simply. But indirect means that there will be larval stages. That is, egg will develop into larva, then to the pupa, and then to the adult. Or maybe there will be more than one larval stage. Like one larva will be formed, second larva will be formed, sometimes even a third larva will be formed, then a pupa, and then the third stage. So metamorphosis is present. This is called indirect development. Indirect development means that there will be larval stages which does not look like adult, and then become the adult stage. So Development in these organisms is both direct or indirect. In both ways, this is possible. So now the classification. Now I come back to PPT because that is having better things. Okay, so for a minute. I just want to show you something. Okay, so let me share one diagram of cockroach, dissected one, so that you can see all the parts by yourself. Okay, here I hope you can see the screen. So here is the cockroach, the dissected diagram of a cockroach. Cockroach, is an insect and a typical arthropod. Let's talk about its all parts. So we said they are having a head region. This is the head region, right? Then this part where till legs are attached and you can't see any segments from here till here is the thoracic region of the thorax of the chest region. This is the thorax region. And if you go down from here you can see this whitish line and the white line start. This is abdominal region. So a head region, a thorax region, and abdominal region. There are three regions in the body. Now here you can see that legs, one, two, three. Legs on one side, one, two, three on the other side. So three pairs. These are all attached to the thoracic region. In abdominal region, no legs are attached. Only thoracic region do have the legs. Then we said that they are having two antennae for their for seeing anything. So here we can see the antenna, one, two, one pair. This is for sensory purposes. You have seen an ant moving or a cockroach moving. They are always extending these antennae because they are actually sensing the environment with the help of these. Then here you can see the digestive tube. The esophagus, this big one, of course, is the crop, and this is the gizzard. Both of these are actually making stomach. Crop, this one, this big one, is for storage of food, and this gizzard is basically for grinding of food. You can see the small one in blue. This is to grind, and this big one, yellow or goldish, is the crop to store food. Then the intestine, which ends in a rectum and then anus. Here you can see these tubes. These are basically the excretory tubes, the Malpighian tubules. These are, and they actually collect all them because you can see we have for dissection. This is extended out. Otherwise, all of this material is present here in the abdomen. So these are present right there in the abdomen. These tubules actually, from all of the body parts, collect the excretory material because blood is right there in this cavity here. So through blood, they directly collect the excretory material. You can see these are all blind tubes, Malpighian tubules, white. And just below the stomach, they are present. Then here you can see the nerve cord. You can see these ganglia, this whitish, another, almost one ganglion per segment. Yeah, whitish. And then you can see threads threads are extending around them. These threads are the nerves that are coming out. And this whole thing will be called a nerve cord, ventral nerve. This is towards the ventral side because this cockroach is dissected from the dorsal side. Right? So this is making clear. I stop this and come back for presentation so that we can talk about the classification. All right. Um, Now let me share my presentation. Okay, so we are on the presentation now. So arthropoda groups. What happened that phylum Arthropoda is a very, as we already talked about, a huge phylum. So it is first of all divided into subphyla and then to the classes and so. So we will not go to the classes because that will be a very long task. We'll just talk about a few important subphyla. So there are six subphyla reported most of the times, but certain variations are there in classification. One subphylum which is called subphylum Trilobita. These are basically the extinct organisms, and we find the remains of it like fossils. We find fossils, very clear fossils like impressions on the rocks or impressions somewhere inside the soil or like that. Uh, these organisms are called trilobites. Then there is subphylum, um, sometimes called Chelicerata, sometimes called Chelicerata, I say Chelicerata. These are basically crabs, spiders, ticks, mites, and some extinct groups as well. Then subphylum Myriapoda, they include basically centipedes, millipedes, those which actually look like worms. These Myriapoda are which are having many feet, centipedes and millipedes. You may have seen an insect which is there sometimes coming out in the washrooms or so, and which are having so many legs and worm-like body. Those are centipedes and millipedes. So organisms with many legs. Then subphylum Crustacea. They also include crabs, lobsters, shrimps, barnacles. Many of them are eatable, like shrimps and lobsters, even crabs. Some people eat. Then subphylum Hexapoda, particularly having Hexapoda means 6 feet. They are having basically six legs. The insects. They include the insect mainly. Class insect. So we will not talk about all of them, but we will talk about. We can select, as we have said, three main groups. So let's see. First of all, I think briefly we talk about Trilobita. Subphylum Trilobita. Actually, tri means three. Lobes mean lobes. They are divided into three longitudinal regions in the body. So they are having basically three regions in the body. And we know that this is generalized pattern of arthropod. We already talked about that their body is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen. So a head region, a middle region, which is not exactly a thorax but still a tail region. So they are having oval bodies. ये हमें impressions मिलते हैं. They're fossils. They're extinct organisms. Now they are not present. So all the impressions that people found in different places, impressions on the rocks, sometimes mostly, sometimes in the soil or so, sometimes on the trees or etc. But all have the same pattern. There is a head region, there is a middle region, and there is a tail region. You can see one, two, three different impressions like that. So their body is divided into three longitudinal regions. That's why they are called trilobita, that they are having three lobes. Then the subphylum Chelicerata. Chelicerata, they are including horseshoe crabs. They are including spiders, ticks, mites, and scorpions. You can see the ticks, mites, and scorpion and different organisms. They are having a particular specific thing that their head and thorax basically are fused together. This is their specificity. Cheliceratas, that they are having what we call a cephalothorax. Cephalothorax means that head and thorax are not completely separated. They are fused together. There is a head region and there is a thoracic region, but this is quite a fused one. And then there is an abdominal region. Here you can see a typical particular spider diagram, and here is a picture. This is the head region. This is the thorax region. But there is no distinction between them, so they are almost joined. They are fused. That's why they are called cephalothorax. Sometimes also called prosoma. And then there is an abdominal region which is called opistosoma. So prosoma, pro means first, opisto means later. So prosoma, soma means body. So prosoma, first part of body, opistosoma, the later or the other part of body. Then there are legs, and there are extended mouth parts. There are many eyes, eye-like structures, extensions. They contain digestive system, reproductive system, excretory system, and respiratory system are present in abdominal region. And head is having eye, sensory part, a brain, and thorax, which is attached to them, like cephalothorax, having legs as well attached to them. So this is their specification that they are having cephalothorax region. Now we are not going into the details of their classes. There are many classes, but I think uh, till this part. But still, for information, their appendages are attached to cephalothorax. Then chelicerae, which are attached, which are basically their mouth parts for cutting the food material. So they are not having antenna, and most of them suck liquid food from the prey. It means they can actually insert their mouth parts. You can see these mouth parts. They insert these mouth parts into the body of another organism and then can directly suck upon the body fluids, liquid food basically. Here are a few examples just to see. Scorpion, different types of spiders, and ticks and mites. This is a dust mite. For example, sometimes what happens that some insect-like organisms are there in your rugs or carpets, etc. These might be present there, also in the dust and so. This is a mite. This may be present even on human body, on animal's body. They can also can cause diseases, irritations, etc. And even can make holes in the skin and can live in there. Okay, so some examples, just leave it. We are not doing this detailed structure of the spiders, but just to see its inner structure. Then I jump to the other classes. Just to show you the spiders, what huge variety of. Then the crustaceans. The crustaceans are basically mean crusta means shell because they are having a shell-like extended part of the body. They are having like a shell. Lobsters, crayfishes, ये वो वाले जिन्हें हम खाते हैं. Many of them are eaten. Lobsters, crayfishes, shrimps, crabs, and so on. Many of them are eaten as what we call seafood. These are aquatic. Mostly they are marine. As we know, why I call them seafood, that majority of them are actually marine. So aquatic, mostly marine. A few terrestrial forms are also present. Some few also live on land, but mostly they are terrestrial. Then they have major ecological and economic importance. Definitely they are having economic importance because they are eaten and very fondly eaten by many people in various major areas of the world. And that's why they are like, see a lobster, a shrimp, a krill, and amphipods. Here is an example of they're having appendages. Again, jointed, having two pairs of antenna as well. We said that the previous group Chelicerae are not having appendages. Sorry, antenna. But the crustacea, they are having antenna. They have complex mouth parts, basically for chewing, grinding, handling. We are not talking about individually, but they are having complicated mouth parts. which are helping them in identifying, sensing the food, and then eating it quite very well. For example, this one example, walking that pincer-like claws, which can of course help in attacking the prey or attacking the enemy. Okay, so these are a few questions. I'm putting these questions into the chat so that you can see them later. So now we'll talk about the last one, insecta. I'm just leaving them now. No characteristics we talked about. Oh yes, the compound eye. I think someone asked a question. What is compound eye? Here you can see a compound eye. Let's enlarge this image to show you. Okay, so here you can see a compound eye. You can see many. This is extended slightly out of the body, out of the head, and there are many units in it. This you can see these dots are all units, and every unit is basically making one image of just one part of the world. For example, you're seeing in a wall or towards a wall, one small part of wall will be recorded by one lens, and then the whole image will be formed by all of these. So word look like to them a puzzle, picture puzzle, like that. And if you go to their molecular, sorry, the structure on a more smaller level, just simply take one part of them, make a diagram, then they will look like this. That the individual unit, one lens is associated with below a nerve fiber. The second lens to another fiber, third to another fiber, and all of them are making their own image. We also sometimes call them omatidia, and singular one will be omatidium. So omatidium, and all of these are omatidia. Many. Okay, so this is the compound line. Now let's go to the okay. One more important thing about crustacea, that the barnacles. These are living or non-living. They can attach to living or non-living substrates. Barnacles are looking like lamps. Sometimes these are called lamps of the sea. These are present in the sea surface. They are living or non-living substrates. For example, they may live on the surface of another animal. Like many may be attached to the shell of a turtle. Some may attach to non-living things. Like for example, sometimes some are attached to the base of the ship. These are considered to be one of the important reason for destruction of ships. If ships are standing, ships have to stand for some time in the water, and these organisms can attach to their base and even can destroy the base if they are staying there for long periods. So these are considered to be some important organisms. Most species secrete a calcium carbonate shell, which means that it's a hard shell, and head is reduced, and even abdomen is rudimentary. So very small organisms, soft body parts are present inside the shell. There you can see, which are extending out, and most is covered by the shell. So they are having a harder body. Then one more important is the krill. It's a very small organism. Here you can see those krills. They make major component of plankton. They are major food for whales and the many other fishes. Particularly whale, is a very huge, big organism. It is a filter feeder. Basically, it filters food from the water body. So what happened that they are making a major food for the whales and even for many more fishes. They make what we call a plankton, and they are also considered to be zooplankton. Zoo means animal-like plankton. So we talked about here three classes. Only one class is left, and that is insecta, the insects. And we'll talk about them in next class because this is a huge group. We said they're 50% of the animal species on Earth. So I think we should deal them separately. So we'll talk about them in next class, and we stop in here the phylum Orthopoda right now. In next class, we'll talk about the insecta, class insecta. So I stop this uh, presentation. Okay. Any questions? I'm putting my questions right there in the chat. I hope you can see that. Okay. So list three differences between Chelicita also is H is missing. Chelicita and crustacea. List any four organisms which are crustaceans. Some more questions for you. Okay, so any questions regarding this presentation? Paramathapoda, right now, till now.
What do we have to do about this question that you sent in the chat?
Just solve it, but this is just for your information. This is not an assignment. This is just for your information. You can do it. Like, for example, um, questions like this might be asked in quiz.
Oh,
For
a
example,
revision.
if I ask like
Okay, ma'am.
differentiate between insecta and a crustacea, right? So this kind of questions will be list a few organisms belong to subphylum, insecta or subphylum crustacea, or maybe the economic importance of crustacea. Questions could be like this. Ah, yes, your quiz. I'm thinking, planning next Thursday. I was thinking that we can think about the quiz next Thursday. What do you people think? What about next Thursday?
It's fine,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Next Thursday.
Okay, next Thursday will be fine.
नेक्स्ट
Yes,
थर्सडे
ma'am.
ठीक है मैम
पर मैम वो होगा कैसे क्विज?
क्विज जो है वो ऑनलाइन होगा और मूडल के थ्रू होगा क्योंकि ऑफ कोर्स we are all online now and we have to make all activities possible through online mode. So Moodle quiz होगा
सो
और
मैम उसमें
जी
उसमें सिर्फ एमसीक्यूज
यस
होंगे या शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन आंसर्स वगैरह क्या होगा उसका पैटर्न फॉर्मेट बता दें
एमसीक्यूज हाँ एमसीक्यूज भी और जो शॉर्ट
डिफरेंस
क्वेश्चंस हैं
जैसे आपने बताया था डिफरेंस
हाँ
वाले आएंगे
एमसीक्यूज भी मैं
कंपैरिजन
चाह रही हूँ कि एमसीक्यूज भी हों और शॉर्ट क्वेश्चंस भी हों शॉर्ट क्वेश्चंस में you have to just simply type online the typing online will be there
ओके
that's what I want
मैम what about
ओके
the time?
so लैब जो है लैब सब सारी ऑनलाइन ही होंगी जब तक कि हम लाइक टिल 10th ऑफ जनवरी उसके बाद फिर हम देखेंगे कि किस तरह से जो है वो इसको हैंडल करते हैं जनवरी के बाद ऑन होता है नहीं होता वी आर नॉट श्योर अबाउट दैट so January ke baad if the college is on then we will of course do the labs there but before that we'll have to do labs online so of course I am collecting a list of online labs and then yet I left I have added only we have done only 4 labs over there right which are all on Moodle I'll add 2 more and will give you some more dates because some people ask for extension of the dates. So I have extended the dates till 15th of December. You can finish these. I'll add 2 more and will give you date for till 24th of December for them. I'll try to add some simplified, more not more complicated. And there'll be of course 1 week's break for Christmas and winter. That is 1 week I think from 24 December till 1st of January. After that, I'll give you more. So 2 more will be uploaded for this time. And of course, online.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, I'm also going to share a course
Yes,
plan
next
with you.
Thursday.
Yeah, next Thursday. Next Thursday. I'll put an announcement on Moodle and also send you an email.
Okay, ma'am.
It is next Thursday. Let me find out the date and share with you. And I'm also going to share a course plan because I was making it, and I have divided it into all weeks and also added chapters there, right? So in a day, I'll share that with you, whole plan with you, which will also include those activities which we are going to do, including these lab activities. So there's a list of lab activities, and there's a list of all the topics week wise there. So I'll head it or name it course plan, right? Or we can say it like portfolio. It's your choice, whatever you name it. On that you can have a look, and if you want to ask questions, then that will be basically giving you an overview so you don't get confused, because some classes were online, some were not online, some people were present on campus, some were present online, and now we are all online. So it's all randomized and complicated thing has happened. So now this course plan that I'll share in a day probably on Moodle will help you in organizing all your activities, that how you have done, so that you can more organize yourself for the course, right? तो कोर्स प्लान में एक आध दिन में शेयर करूंगी, उसको आप जरा देखिएगा, उसमें सारा चैप्टर वाइज टॉपिक वाइज क्लासेस की भी लिस्ट है, और इसके साथ साथ लैब्स की भी, वो उससे आपका सारा जो ये ऑर्गेनाइज हो जाएगा सारा जो, राइट जी। और कोई क्वेश्चन? अच्छा हाँ, थर्सडे की मैं डेट बता दूं, नेक्स्ट थर्सडे विल बी 10th of December. So that is Thursday, 10th December, and quiz 1 online, MCQs, the pattern if we say MCQs and short questions. Short question mean 2 marks questions.
मैम सिलेबस भी बता दें।
हाँ, अब syllabus. I was thinking that we should take a quiz of probably phylum Platyhelminthes and Annelida.
मैम आप ईमेल में टॉपिक्स भी शेयर कर दिएगा।
हाँ बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, ईमेल में भी और मूडल पे दोनों पे शेयर होंगी टॉपिक्स भी और यही सारी डिटेल भी. सो वी आर टेकिंग दैट ऑन Thursday 10th December. That will be online, MCQs and short questions, and Platyhelminthes and Annelida. These will be the syllabus.
Ma'am, what about the poriferous?
वो फिर हम बाद में एग्जाम में कवर कर लेंगे, वो भी मिडटर्म भी होना है.
अच्छा मैम, वो मॉडल पे ना वीडियो लेक्चर्स नहीं आ रहे.
वो मैंने कोशिश की है, उसमें थोड़ा सा इशू आ रहा है, प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है उसको करने में, उनके साइज की वजह से. तो आई एम ब्रेकिंग दीज अप इनटू पीसेस, सॉरी पार्ट्स. अब वो पार्ट वाइज मैं उसको करूंगी प्रॉब्ली यूट्यूब पर, और फिर शेयर करूंगी आपके मूडल पर. एक आध दिन इसमें लग जाएगा.
तो मिस,
सो टुमारो यू चेक.
Miss, why can't you just share the link of it? This recording का लिंक आप शेयर कर दें तो Moodle पे, तो आपको वो ब्रेकआउट नहीं करना पड़ेगा.
हाँ लेकिन वो, हाँ वही मैं चाह रही हूँ कि YouTube पे इनको अपलोड करके, क्योंकि लेकिन उसके लिए कन्वर्जन इनकी करनी पड़ेगी, क्योंकि फाइल जो सेव हुई है उसको कन्वर्ट थोड़ा करना पड़ेगा MP4 और समथिंग जो YouTube फॉर्मेट में है. तो दैट्स व्हाट आई एम डूइंग. अगर तो पूरा हो गया तो अच्छी बात है, और अगर नहीं हुआ तो फिर मैं उसका पार्ट्स कर दूंगी और उनको 1 2 3 नेम दे दूंगी, और उनके लिंक्स जो है वो मूडल पे शेयर कर दूंगी. तो दैट्स व्हाट आई एम प्रॉफिटिंग. बिकॉज हुआ क्या है कि मैंने इनको मूडल पे अपलोड किया है, लेकिन वहां पे उन्होंने एरर दिया और वो रन नहीं हुए. अब जब रन नहीं हुआ तो फिर जाहिर है कोई सोल्यूशन निकालना पड़ेगा. सो सोल्यूशन इज दिस, दैट आई थॉट आई विल अपलोड दिस टू YouTube and give you the links on Moodle. So through Moodle you will go to YouTube actually, because actually what has happened that I have uploaded them but they are not working, they are giving error. So
मैम
I don't
क्विज
know.
कितने मार्क्स का होगा? वो मार्क्स कह रही हूँ, टाइम लिमिट का होगा?
Time limit I'll give you about half an hour to do that.
और Miss,
Okay,
can
ma'am.
you
साथ ही मैं इसको क्लास में लूंगी, और क्लास में भी आपसे मीट पे कनेक्शन रखूंगी कि अगर किसी को कोई इशू आता है तो आई गाइड यू ऑन द साइट.
तो मिस हम इसकी
क्लास
जो
का हाफ एन आवर
प्रेपरेशन है, इसकी जो
जी जी।
प्रेपरेशन है वो बुक से करेंगे जो आपने शेयर की हुई है पहले से ही,
एक बुक भी मैंने शेयर की हुई है, बिल्कुल। और
और वहां
उसके
से
साथ
कॉपी।
ये है कि ये पावर पॉइंट को फॉलो करें, क्योंकि बुक में तो बहुत ज्यादा डिटेल होंगी, जाहिर है। उसको बुक को आप पावर पॉइंट के अकॉर्डिंगली elaboration में यूज कर लेंगे. Of course, PowerPoint have points, and you can elaborate those points through books, to the book that you have.
ओके, थैंक यू मिस।
Yeah. So PowerPoint you send is your outline, but book is there if you want to do some extended study on some topic you want to clarify yourself. You can go to the book course find out. Book में आपने दो चीजों पे concentrate करना है. See what I tell you. First thing, there's a table which is saying characteristics. There's a box like table. You have seen chapters? Have you seen chapters?
यस मिस।
Yes. So those chapters are showing a box like table which is showing characteristics, right?
Yes,
You go to
ma'am.
the
वो आप
characteristics. उन सबको आपने अच्छी तरह से कवर करना, right? Then
जी
some important example diagram, one or two, which will explain you the inner structure or like that. Initial part. And then the classification table is there for every chapter. For every phylum, there is a classification table as well. Cover that. These two main things that you have to cover. The table of classification, the table of characteristics. And if you need elaboration, you can go to the topics. That's a tip to study, to organize your chapter study easily. So the table and the table of classification, table of characteristics, and one or two diagrams.
Miss, diagram related to the syllabus that you already told us.
Yes, I have told, I think, in some class. I think I have mentioned a few chapter pages aspect.
yes ma'am, you recommended us some articles to watch out that.
Yes, yes. Okay, but I'm sharing the course plan with you, and that course plan will have chapters and a few pages as well. In a day, I'll share that plan. ये अभी है मेरे पास, इसको थोड़ा सा और मैं एक बार modify करना है, and then I add. So in a day, I'll add that course plan. That will have all the topics in some detail and the page numbers from the chapters. All right. So I am uploading in a day. I am uploading one more lab. That will be an interesting one. See if we have some time.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, you have 5 minutes. I am. I want to show you that how to do it. If I can find it, just a minute. That is very interesting activity. अगर अभी मेरे सामने हो तो मैं आपसे शेयर कर लूं. हाँ. That is basically a virtual microscope. No, right now I don't. Right now I don't have in my closet, but I'm sharing you with that. Your next lab, that will be a virtual microscope. Virtual microscope mean a microscope online. I mean, images are there, and you can use the control of light, and you can zoom it uh, on your. I'll share that in the lab section, of course. And I suggest that you observe the eye of the insect and body parts of the insect through that virtual microscope. That is a virtual microscope. The microscope animation, you can say, I don't say animation, I'll say interactive media, more precisely. That is an interactive media with which there is a media which is dynamic and you can interact with that. So in that microscope, you can zoom in and zoom out the things, and you can also focus on, focus on many materials. So that will be interesting. And I suggest that we have just studied the arthropoda chapter, so you can study insect parts. For example, there is a compound eye that you can observe closely and from far. So I'll share that lab with you and see what happens. I hope you will be able to solve it. If you are not, then in class we will discuss and talk. Right now I don't have that link, but I'll share that in your lab section. on the in the lab timings, of course. Thursday को share करूँगी for lab. Okay, and this is all for today. Anything else that you want to ask?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No? Okay. Okay, then. Thank you very much. We'll meet inshallah then later. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz, everybody. Allah Hafiz.
Allah
Allah
Hafiz.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Thank you.
Oh, wait.